Alright guys, welcome back for another video on HAIKYU Fly High, and today I am going to do a team building guide for the Inarizaki school. But before talking about that, we have a brand new gift code, so let's just do that together. The gift code is going to be HAIKYU KOC, okay? Let's see what we get. We are going to get 5 memory recruit ticket, okay? Let's do the team build for Inarizaki School now. So obviously when you're trying to build Inarizaki School, you will be building around the Beta Twin. So that's kind of what they are by default already in the team. And then the third member is pretty much a no-brainer as well, and that's going to be Kita. So first of all, Kita is one of the best SSR in this game. He's in my own personal opinion, he's the top 2 SSR in this game. The other one being Yaku, who I will also mention in this video later on. But yeah, so he's already very good even by himself. On top of that, he has deployment bomb with the Mia twins and also synergy with Asumu, because Asumu basically get buff when your teammate do not crit, and Kita's kit literally prevents him from critting. Okay, so there's a very good strong synergy between the 3 of them. So those 3 are pretty much the core and the foundation of any Inarizaki team. Now, in order to actually have a school bond, you need basically 4 members, and the Inarizaki school bond is actually really strong, so you should definitely try to go for them. And basically, that means 1 other Inarizaki school member out of the 4 remaining position. I'm just going to go through one by one because some of them are actually quite easy to eliminate. So let's start off with the Wind Spiker. So there are actually 2 Wind Spiker for Inarizaki outside of Kita. However, neither of them is best suited for this team, in my opinion. First of all, Genjima. Genjima actually has a bit of a crit in his team, in his kit, so that's not a natural synergy. And then on top of that, basically he is like a combo of both receiver and also power attacker. However, if you actually put him here, what you realize is that because Kita needs to be in this position so that he can rotate to the back, because he literally doesn't have any other thing other than receive. Okay, so he has to be at the back, and if he's at the back, then that basically means your other Wind Spiker will be up front, and therefore it's going to be useless for you to actually put someone which is more like a receiving focus on your other Wind Spiker position. So that's kind of why overall he's just not going to be a good option. He's more like a budget replacement for Kita if you're not lucky enough to get Kita. But other than that, definitely do not try to waste another spot for him. Okay, and then the other Wind Spiker is going to be Aaron. Aaron is actually really good in terms of like a power spiker, and also have a great synergy with Kita, because when Kita restores stamina, which first of all Aaron actually use up a lot, he's also able to regain extra stamina when your teammate restores stamina. So the 2 of them do have good synergy. However, he's not going to be the best choice for any Narizaki team, mainly for the fact that a lot of time you will actually try to do as much, I guess, as much of quick spiking as possible in this team, because Asumamia is actually able to buffer the quick spiking stats when he sets it to someone. Okay, so even though you can definitely put a power spiker, he's not going to benefit the fullest from Asumamia setting. So that's kind of what a lot of time you don't potentially want to put a power spiker as your other Wind Spiker, and that basically already kind of limit down the choices, because you don't really want a receiver because he will be up front, and you don't really want a power spiker. So who do you actually want in your other Wind Spiker position? The answer is going to be quite simple: someone capable of blocking, and there are pretty much only 2 characters capable of blocking, 2 Wind Spiker capable of blocking. One is going to be Futakuchi, he's going to be the budget option. The other one, which a lot of people should probably actually go for, is going to be Hoshiyumi. Now, Hoshiyumi, first of all, I just want to clarify in terms of Hoshiyumi. Hoshiyumi can be built both in terms of offensive and also defensive. By defensive, I mean blocking. Now, 99%, actually I won't say 99, but I would say at least solid 80% of the time you should be building Hoshiyumi as a blocker. Okay, yes, Hoshiyumi does have a strong power spike. However, because Hoshiyumi is kind of like a jack of all trade, if you actually just compare purely power spiking capability, he's not actually as good as the other UR or SP Wind Spike. Okay, what makes Hoshiyumi stand out is the fact that he's literally the one of the only 2 Wind Spiker capable of blocking. So if you are actually trying to get Hoshiyumi, you are going for his versatility. You're not going for his power spiking, and that's kind of why you want to build him in a blocking style vast majority of the time, and that also fits perfectly here, because like I said, that's kind of the role you want for your other Wind Spiker. Now, so that role is pretty much more or less defined, and that just really 3 other slots remaining. Now, the other Inarizaki member is going to be only one mid blocker, which is going to be Rintaro. There's another one, but that's an SR character, so obviously he's out of option here. And then obviously the other Inarizaki member is going to be the Liberal Akagi as well, okay? So you do have those two, and one of them will definitely need to be played in order for the schoolbook. That also means there's going to be one other mid blocker, which is definitely going to be outside of Inarizaki. And a natural choice, because we already have Hoshiyumi, okay, a natural choice is going to be Hirogami as well for the dual bomb. Now, because this is literally 4 UR character which are back to back, very likely you may not have resources to get them all. So if you do have to be budget friendly, you can use this free to play option, which is Suki, okay? So this is more going to be depending on, how much resources you have. I am just going to put it for Hirogami for the time being. And then now let's take a look at the other two positions. And this is kind of the 2 different variation of Inarizaki. Oh, also one other thing. In terms of this mid blocker, instead of Hirogami, if you do happen to have Yu Kuro, you can also play him. He also goes very well here because first of all, he is also a quick spiking character, so he can benefit from Asumu's buff, and also he obviously have a blocking capability as well. Okay, so he's also going to be good if you do have him. But otherwise, I'll put Hirogami, which is probably what a lot of people will be going for instead. Okay, now in terms of the 2 variation of the Inarizaki team, so if you want to go with Rintaro, that basically would free up your liberal to be of a different character. And in those cases, the best SSR character you can go for is going to be Yaku. I already mentioned Yaku and Kita are by far the 2 best SSR in this game, in my opinion. So having him to actually, both of them are in the same team together is actually really, really strong, even though you are playing with 3 SSR characters. On top of that, Yaku does actually have very good synergy within Naruto team as well, because he actually buff quick attack. And as you can see from this team, vast majority of your attack is actually going to be from Rintaro and Osamu. And also, by the way, your third spiker is actually going to be Hoshiyumi. And even though Hoshiyumi is more of a power spiker, when you actually have him at dupe 2, he is also going to buff his attack by equal to quick attack stats as well, okay? So even though he's a power spiker by trade, he does actually use some of the buff from his quick spiking stat. So that's kind of why Asumu is still able to, somewhat a tiny bit of a buff to Hoshiyumi as well, okay? So this is basically, in my opinion, probably the strongest in Naruto team, and this is also going to be the rotation you want. You want to use this rotation because Asumu, Hirogami, and Osamu all have surfing skills, and also Kita can basically enjoy 3 turns at the back, okay? So this is going to be the strongest in Naruto team if you are going down the Rintaro option, and probably also stronger than the other variation, which I'm going to talk about now. So what's going to be the other variation? The other variation is going to be, rather than playing Rintaro as your fourth member, you can play Akagi instead. This would then free up your mid blocker to be of a different character. Now, like I said, the natural choice is going to be Suki, okay? Everyone have him, so he's going to be guaranteed. And the other upgraded version is going to be Kuro UR version, if you do happen to have him. This is also pretty insanely strong, right? We're talking about 5 UR character with 2 SSR, and you still have that school bond. So this is also going to be a very strong team. Now, let's say if we are going down the free-to-play option and you don't have either of those 2 URs because you're saving up for the Mia Twins and also Hoshiyumi, that's also fine. So in those cases, you will probably go with Suki and Lief instead. And the idea is that you still want a good, capable spiker in your mid blocker in order to use up the buff from Asumu Mia. And that's kind of why you will be playing with those 2. And also the reason why you would put Suki up front and then Lief at the back is because Lief actually benefit from a strong receive. So by the time Lief actually rotate to the front, Kita would then be at the back, okay? And obviously Kita provides a stronger receiving option than what Hoshiyumi is able to provide. So that's kind of why this would also work very well in my opinion. And this is kind of the free-to-play option, okay?